Good morning, children, and welcome back to your online class. Okay, so in the previous class we had discussed about the new chapters on properties of water. We have discussed the physical properties as well as water solutions. We have discussed about solution, solute, solvent. Yes or no? Now today we will discuss about the conditions for making a solution. Okay, conditions. What are the conditions that we should note while making a solution? Okay. The following are some conditions which affect the making of a solution. If you stir the solute, for example sugar, in the solvent, the solution is formed faster. Now, when we put the sugar in the water and stir that very well, the solution formed will be very fast. Okay? Next, if the solvent, for example water, is warmed and the solute is then added to the solution to it, the solution will be formed in less time. That means it will be very fast. When the water is warm and the solute, that sugar or a salt, is dissolved in water, the solution will form very fast. Okay. Next, point number 3. If the solute dissolves faster in a solution when broken into smaller pieces or powdered. That means what? The powdered particles of a solute will dissolve in a solvent very fastly. Understood, children? First of all, the point number 1, it says that if we stir the solute with the solvent, the solution will form faster. Okay. Now, point number 2 says that when the water, that is solvent, is warm, okay, then the solute, sugar or a salt, when we put in the water, okay, in a solvent, the solution forming will very fast. It takes very less time to dissolve, to form a solution. Alright. Point number 3 says that the solute dissolves faster in a solvent when it is in a very small pieces or it is powdered. Solid particles as compared to powdered particles takes more time, but powdered particles very less time to get dissolved in a solvent. Okay, children. Last, point number 4, it says that increasing the quantity of the solvent helps in forming the solution in lesser time. Now, when the solvent, water, is given in more quantity than the solute, the solution formed will also be very fast. So these are the 4 conditions which is needed for the proper solution. Okay, children. Next, point number next topic we will discuss about is common soluble and insoluble substances. First of all, we have to know what is soluble substances, and another one is what is insoluble substances. Okay, let's read this. The substances that dissolve in water are called the soluble substances, and the substances that do not dissolve in water are called insoluble substances. Soluble means what? The solute and the solvent, when they are mixed together, it is known as soluble substance, and when the solute is not dissolving with the solvent, okay, it is known as insoluble substance. Soluble substance, example you can take here, salt and water, sugar and water. These are the example of a soluble substances. As well as if you take the example of an insoluble substance, what you can take? Sand and water. Now, you take the example of sand and water, you put some sand in a water and stir them. Or you can warm the water also. Or you can simply you can put the powdered sand also. Still, you can see that the sand and waters, they do not dissolve together. Okay, they don't mix together. No. So that's why this type of solution is known as insoluble substances. Alright, children. Insoluble substance means what? Those substances which are not soluble with water, in water. Okay, and soluble substance means what? Those substances which dissolves in water are known as soluble substances. Example of a soluble substance, what we can give? We can give salt and water, sugar and water, etc. And insoluble substance, we can give example about your sand and water, Another example you can give is your iron and water, as well as you can take stone and water. These are the examples of insoluble substances. Okay, children? Alright. Now we'll talk about objects that float or sink in water. There are few objects which gets down under the water, and there are some objects which are seen above the water also. Okay, let us discuss that. Objects that are heavier than water sink in it. That means all the objects which are heavier than the water, what they do, they go inside. That means they sink in it. Okay, and some objects that are lighter than the water, what they will do, they will float on it, on the top of it. Okay, a stone, spoon and coin sink in water because they are heavier than the water, whereas wood, sponge, feather, plastic items and oils, they all are lighter and always they float in the waters. Okay, children? Example is already given there, that objects that are heavier than the water, what they do, they sink in it, and the objects which are lighter than the water, what they do, they float on the top of the water. Now, sinking objects are what? Stone, spoon, then your coin, etc. And you can give the examples of these objects which are lighter, which floats on the water, are wood, sponge, feather, wood, sponge, feather and plastic items. Alright. As well as oil, they are always seen on the top of the water because they are lighter than the water. All the substances which are heavier, all the objects which are heavier, they will sink in the water, and all the objects which are lighter than the water, they will be seen floating on the top of the water. Alright, children. So by this we completed our chapter number 8 also. So in the next class I will be giving you the answers, short answers, long answers, all. Okay. Till then, go through the video, go through your chapter also. If you have doubt anywhere, if you have doubt, any kind of doubt, you can ask me. Alright, children. Thank you and have a good day ahead.